back when the game didn't want you to sell your firstborn, Genji was the star of the show. He was made with the intention of being overpowered, because look at my man, he was the coolest, flashiest, and took the biggest dick to play. Even if the devs wanted Tracer to be the face of the game, Genji was, and this showed his popularity where he was the most played hero, most popular cinematic, the most amount of merch. In every cinematic, he would be playing with his enemies. You tell me you died to this guy? Yeah, it's easy to forget that lore-accurate Doom can't level skyscrapers. Now we see 8 years later, and how does he fare? I know all the 16-year-olds are now gigagooners, but the disrespect is just downright spiteful. I've never seen a character with so much popularity be so exempt from even a touch of love. But let's roll it back all the way to 2016, where he started. Genji released and was immediately the most popular hero in the game. High pick rates, high win rates, and multiple little intricate techs that contributed to his high skill ceiling. He was already a very skillful character, because he could combo his right clicks and dashes to the point of being oppressive. And when he pressed that Q, you better skedaddle, because he was gonna beat you harder than OJ beat his. It was very clear what Genji's role was in the game, and that was to see your pussy-ass poke characters and say, no, you my bitch now. That was literally the design intention of Genji. None of the support cast could deal with him easily. The only one who could, you would think, was Lucio, and my man used to have cinder blocks on his feet. He was a support killer, and this was a healthy gameplay dynamic. This is the reason why dive was so good, because if you got double dove, you were cooked. Now people usually skip a little too well, too quick. 8-second drag play, nerf. Wall stalling, deleted. Slingshot, nope. The Overwatch devs did not like bugs, even if the bugs increased the skill cap of the hero. For example, in TF2, Trimping was the bug that allowed you to fly across the map in a few seconds. They not only kept this, but they made it easier. Isn't that the game that's dead as hell? And Overwatch isn't! But regardless, Genji was still OP, because his base was still strong. A character that can take fights when they want, so they can gangbang you at once, was the first big meta. Dive, composed of heroes that had such high mobility, they could gank and engage whenever they wanted. And when you got dove, you were cooked. This was peak Overwatch competitive, since stuff died super fast, and it was very entertaining to watch because of this. Yet after a year of dive dominating the meta, they barely touch the heroes, even if they did get super stale. And while any normal person would crank some numbers down,
I took it too light on the weebs. I must do what my ancestors couldn't.
The first big axe to Genji was Moira. Didn't die, couldn't miss, and get out of jail free card on a 6-second cooldown. An autistic fetus with no fingers could beat your ass with it. But it's all fine, because nobody played her.
Excuse me, what's the actual... No! Fuck!
Brig was created purely to counter dive, basically having her entire kit focused around you having a bad time. Her stun, boop, and AoE healing were so oppressive, blocking Brig would be a GG. Remember how I said dive heroes like Genji discourage poke comps? It was officially over. Now obviously this is the normal player base, but even regular old ranked, if you ever were doing too good on Genji, they would counter swap to Brig and shut you down. Also, tanks have been getting sped up as the years pass. Genji sucks at dealing with tanks as it should, but as the years have gone on, tanks have just been getting better and better, whether it's Sigma deleting you from existence or Diva who just won't hop off your dick. On top of that, BAP released in 2019, and he was also very overpowered. He could put out a great deal of damage and healing, which would be fine if he didn't have 3 health bars. Yet another support Genji struggled against, and this ammo buff didn't help at all. Power creep isn't the only reason that Genji was falling off though. As the player base got better, assassins like Genji just got worse, and this is true for any game. It didn't matter that they are shit players, people grew up more and peel more, and while Genji in 2016 would roll you in his duels, people got their head out of their ass and actually had some awareness. This led to the biggest Genji buff ever coded in the game. His stats were insanely buffed, making him the best DPS in the game. Genji had always been at least playable since Nano Blade is an insane ultimate combo, but now Genji's base form is so strong and it didn't even last a month. Let's just change that real quick. They reverted basically everything about the buff, so now he's back to being a Blade bot. Until they nerfed his Blade and gave him a Shuriken buff, which like, why? And then they did it again. They wanted nerf field to discourage the use of Nano Blade, but by doing that, they made Genji more dependent on the Nano. Now, one last thing that got caught winning was the Genji triple jump. Now, when I mean triple jump, I don't mean jump resetting on wall climb. That got snapped. I don't mean infinite wall climb to the moon. That got snapped. The thing I'm talking about is you jump, and then you press space again right when you land, and this tricks the game into allowing you to double jump twice. Not strong at all, and super hard to learn. Literally only useful as a niche tech in Genji parkour maps. Now, OG players know this tech because you got stuck on a spot in a parkour map for 3 hours, only to realize that you have to know this weird, obscure tech that was never ever told to you. Parkour makers are truly more evil than Bobby himself. After 5 years of being in the game, they killed it. This isn't even a nerf since it was so useless, so why? It just seems so petty to me, so there's not a single good explanation on why even an hour of dead time was put into patching this. But anyways, we now got a dead game on our hands and we need money, so Overwatch 2 is born, outside of the new Battle Royale mode. Now with one less tank on the field, assassins would become better, and on top of that, a new thing called the DPS passive was introduced, where a kill granted a reload and speed buff, which was great for Genji. The speed buff was especially helpful since chaining kills was Genji's entire thing, and inevitably became a monster because of this. If you heard those old combos, it was over since your entire team got deleted instantly. This did come with a downside though, and that was tanks. Tanks are known to bully Genji, but if a tank got too careless, Genji could kill them. Winston is good against Genji, but it's not really a one-sided matchup at all. If Winston misplayed, you could right-click his head 3 times and he'll die in 2 seconds. Now that there's one tank, and with armor getting buffed, you have to peel every single time, which is annoying, but fine, since he's playing tank. He ain't having any fun either.
Oh, cool.
Also, a ton of stuns got deleted, Brig Bash deleted, thank God. Oh wait. At least they deleted Cassidy Flash. At the time, at least, a lot of things that get Genji in hard check have just been unchecked. While there were still problems with certain supports out-dueling you with ease, and our newest support Kiriko doing it better than literally anyone else before,
It seems about right.
it's fine, because Genji is finally back.
Interest and it's gone.
Literally 2 weeks later, Genji now has some of the lowest damage in the game's history, and just for good measure, they took his ammo too. While he's in a fine place, they removed the DPS passive a few months later, which killed him even harder. Now I get you don't want oppressive heroes, but how the hell is Sojourn not oppressive? She had good damage, good mobility, and a one-shot, and was oppressive for a year. On top of that, Genji is recognizable and cool. Who the fuck cares about this bitch? And while yes, Genji does better at the lower ranks, Sojourn doesn't. But this is a stupid excuse. Why is it that Genji is decent in metal ranks and second high ranks and he's left to die, but Moira is in the same predicament, gets constant complaints by casual players, and even she is buffed. Funny thing is he did get a reversion, getting his ammo count back an entire year later of him sucking. Funny part is about this, it was a complete accident. This buff was not intentional in the slightest since it was not put in the patch notes, but since he sucked anyways so much, might as well keep it, you know? Better yet, this is the only patch Genji was straight up buffed. On an unrelated note, the title does seem misleading though. Why does a character that I claim is neglected get so many skins? Hell, he got the first mythic skin. Well, that's just cause the dev team and the skin team are completely different. The skin team is tasked with what is the best selling skins and create more of those.
I don't know.
The dev team couldn't care less about them. On top of that, in today's climate, Genji sucks at diving. Genji has to put so much more effort than the one who's getting dove, especially considering all the hurdles he has to go through. A lot of the supports that counter him or just take too long to kill that you just want to off yourself. There are so many hurdles you have to go through to get value from Genji, it just isn't worth the stress and time since you could play hit scan with half the effort you get the same value. Remember when I said the only patch Genji was buffed in Overwatch 2 was the increase in ammo count?
So that was a fucking lie.
In Season 9, the swing speed was shorter, meaning you could burn down people a lot quicker. But everybody's HP also increased. Now this doesn't seem that bad. You get higher DPS to balance out the higher health pool, so it all works out.
Do you see me fucking laugh?
Because you can combo your dashes and slashes, Blade is now even worse than Hanzo Dragon, since you can just press C and no, he's dead. The one exception is Nano Blade, which is a strong combo, but the problem with Nano Blade is ult economy. A decent support will just save their defensive ult to prevent this, and trading 2 ults for 1 is not smart. And while yes, you could burn through the insane healing, people clump onto defensive ults, so I wonder how well it's going to go for you jumping onto 5 guys. But even then, this was the best meta Genji could get, since even though Dragon Blade sucked ass, the projectile buffs could not be undersold. So while only great Genji back in the day could consistently smoke people, now everyone can do it, but with meta shifts diving away from the dive tanks, Genji slumped back into being a low-tier garbage character, because he really does need the follow-up or he just dies. And that's just it for Genji. Yeah, this guy gets nose changes, but you might think shows how good his bouncing is, but no. And the craziest part is the kit is all there. All his abilities are fair to face. The gameplay loop is intuitive. He is fun to fight and play. I mean, the one thing he's good for is showing how much power creep has had the game. But how is he doing in esports? I haven't touched, and he's non-existent.
And a joy to share this experience.
I mean, everyone's job here is non-existent as well. So why is he left in this state? Well, it's obvious when you really think about it. Genji in low elo dominates players. People don't peel with each other, and therefore Genji has free reign to dominate in low elo lobbies. In high elo, you would think his win rate drops drastically, but no, it's at 50%. And why is that? Well, diehards main him. The people that have been playing Genji have been playing him for years, and because of how fun he is and how much skill he takes, a lot of one-tricks get really good. So while on a spreadsheet he looks good, he sucks massive dick. So how would I buff him? Well, easy, just making Dragon Blade actually threatening. Dragon Blade is the worst ult in the game, by a long shot.
Oh my god.
It takes so long to charge, and when you do get it, it feels like you're hitting enemies with a pool noodle. So just buff the damage to 140 and decrease the boss by 50%. On top of this, just buff the shuriken damage to 28 like it had been for 6 years. These are all just perversions to the nerfs he has gotten. Even if he is OP, he's the hardest hero in the game, promotes a fun gameplay style, and is fair to fight. You know all the heroes people complain about? He used to be an answer. That is why Tracer has been strong the entire game's life, because she makes the game better. But I gotta go back to reality. No matter how much I cope, Genji will never get his revival. In the past 6 years, he has been strong for only 2 months, which is crazy, since other neglected characters like Bastion and Lifeweaver at least have a season to them being S tier. But Bastion and Lifeweaver are not fun. Everyone hates them, and their neglect is 100% deserved. But Green Cyborg Ninja Dude will always be the face of this game, and that's something no other character can see. It's too real. So, usually the video ends there, but I just want to talk, I guess. The Doomfist video did so well, it's like 50k, and I wish I knew the reason why, but I'll never know. The Roadhog one didn't, which sucks, but you know, whatever, I'm fine with it. I should have delayed it regardless until my mic got fixed, because it was so much worse on YouTube than in my editing software that it just makes it unwatchable. I have a theory that because Quaketon commented on my Doomfist video, it boosted algorithm, and it would be cool if that happened again, or I don't know. If this video also does poorly, I'm going to try a Marvel Rivals one since it's like the hot new thing. The best idea that I've come up with is how strategists are all bland, boring, and uninteresting. That will probably get a lot of clicks, and most people don't want to talk bad about the game, so, you know, corner a market. If that also doesn't pan out, I don't know what to do. I'm trying shorts, putting on Reddit and TikTok, but, you know, if you guys have any other ideas of how to get more people to watch it, let me know. Or even how to improve the quality. I've tried background music, but because of how many edits I do, it's just jarring. Anyways, we're almost at 1k too, so I'll be able to get monetization soon, and if this YouTube stuff does well, I will do more of it. Anyways, enough ramblings. Goodbye.